Part 5 of Chapter 41 of Choujin X is finally here, and we continue where we left off when we see the return of Ririka and Ricardo, and it looks like these two hasn't changed a bit, as Ririka is more serious about her mission, as Ricardo is just talking about food. As we see a whole bunch of birds or origamis just showing up out of nowhere, and it looks like it's going to be a battle against, these five people. But in actuality, Ririka and Ricardo are there to pick up all of the test subjects and the drugs that Batista had gave to Pamela to test these dead corpse. And it looks like they're just cleaning up all of the evidence so that way none of it would be used or it be investigated for the Yamano of Mori. And so when Tokyo's ego is able to see what they're doing, Tokyo is thinking fast and trying to stop them from getting away from, getting rid of all these evidence. So of course, Azuma, he goes on ahead and uses his bike to try to stop it, but Batista comes in out of nowhere and just destroy his bike. And then there we see that Batista is there to actually take Pamela or Palma away back to his lair so that way the Yamano of Mori won't have her. But we see Ellie, Tokyo, and Azuma. They're here to stop Batista for making sure that Pamela doesn't fall in the hands of Batista. And of course, Batista is kind of liking what he's seeing because he even compliments Tokyo and Azuma because the last time they have met, they weren't really that powerful. So he complimented saying that they gotten a lot stronger, but they're not strong enough to actually go on ahead and stop him. And Tokyo goes on ahead and kicks Batista, but it still wasn't enough. But then it looks like Batista, he is just not really worrying about Pamela anymore because towards the end of like the chapter we see that Batista has the bag of most of the drugs that he was able to collect, and it looks like this drug is something that Batista actually wanted because we see that this is the same drug that Pamela used to go and awaken her children powers and go into chaotic states. So I think that Batista, what he was doing was that he wanted to collect Pamela as well, but also to collect majority of the drugs that was there, because at the meantime we thinking that Ellie was able to destroy all the drugs, but in actuality some of them were actually got away. So at this meantime, Batista, he was just like, you know what, you guys can keep her. I got what I want, and guess what, you guys can just go away. So Batista goes on away, and then we see Seto has appeared, and it looks like Seto, he's not really too happy that Tokyo actually saved Pamela because he wanted Tokyo to continue on with the investigation to go on ahead and actually find the pharmacist. But Tokyo explained the whole situation to Seto, and Seto was like, oh, that's interesting. So she's probably a beast Choujin, a pharmacist, or someone connected to what Batista and the other bad guys are doing. So of course Seto was just like, well, you know what, go ahead and continue doing your investigation and make sure that Pamela is safe and secure, and make sure that when she wakes up, make sure she cooperate with us. And then we see the actual friendship of Ellie and Tokyo, which was very great and to see because Azuma, he's trying to maintain his badassery because Tokyo looks up to him, while Ellie's just like, you know what, here's the fist bump and everything. And so Tokyo, he goes on ahead and he goes on a separate way and goes on and flies away. As Pamela, she is waking up from her nightmare. And it looks like she has this continued nightmare that she caused a huge death to everyone that surrounded her, because it's stated that the mass or man or the gas man that she was with when her parents died, it looks like she accidentally killed them, because he's stating that, Pamela, how could you do this to me? As she's saying that, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But then she wakes up and she realized that she is flying and she's thinking that she's dead. But in actuality, Tokyo goes on ahead and talks to her and calm her down. And then she looks and she realized that Tokyo's injuries, and she thinks that she's the one that caused it, which she believes that she did. In actuality, she did. So it kind of hinted that the nightmares that we see Pamela has was that when she goes on her activated her Choujin powers and go into her chaotic state, she caused a whole bunch of destruction. And because she sees Tokyo's injuries and she knew that she did this, but it looks like she is calm because Tokyo is calm and very nice of her. And so, of course, around this time, Pamela, she goes on ahead and she's just like, you know what, I'm going to go back to sleep and I'm going to cooperate with Tokyo. And Tokyo seems like a cool dude. But then towards the end of the chapter, like I stated, that we see Batista and he has some of the drugs that he has that were able to get away. And then we see Ricardo and Ririka as they're counting their money. And then we kind of see how Ricardo is stating that sometimes he feels of edge because he keeps having nightmares. Or we don't know if that's Pamela. But overall, it looks like the drugs that Batista has gave Pamela, it actually did work because it actually awakens a person's Trojan powers. And it seems as if that this is something that he's very interested in because remember, he needs someone to have like a beast form so that way that Zora can actually go on ahead and transfer her powers because that's his whole mission is. So with this formula, we can see that Zora will have a successor based on what we see. But on top of that, Pamela looks like she will be safe throughout the whole series because it seems as if that she's just an innocent person who doesn't know who she's working for. Yes, in hindsight, it looks like she's working for the bad guys, but I do believe that she is just pretty much aware that these people are bad or somewhat. So at the end of the day, we won't know until the future chapter actually showcase what is happening. But it was really good to see the trios working together and interacting with each other, and it was really nice to see that. But other than that, that was pretty much what I can figure out what's happening in this latest chapter of Chosen X. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think or believe what's happening in this chapter of Chosen X. And if you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monotone Man, and hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out here. Peace.